plays, like Paul said, he hates that 3 technique, and the guy comes up the field. What we would do, and now the premium is on this guy's block, and believe me, guys, we didn't have a tight end that could block that guy by himself, especially if that was Reggie. So if we did something like that, we'd like to go ahead and move our tight end, because we didn't think our guy was as good as that guy. So we try to move him and get a little bit running start at the guy. All right? But we would have block down, and the reason we block down, we like that Sam linebacker to step up. When he steps up, he hooks himself. And then that would just become a blast play. So if you go into a game, we say, we're running slant, and the kid comes over and he says, Coach, I can't reach the 3 technique. Well, shit, let's run blast. And it's very simple. You don't have to practice it that week. It's already in the system. All you do is block down, you step the guard around. Okay? Now, the other things that we got to, and I'll stop right here, just what happened to us on the sideline. We're playing Minnesota. Minnesota's a pretty good football team, defensively. And Wayne is a great guy to work for, Wayne Fonts. He's a great guy to work for. He leaves you alone. He said to me, if I ever tell you which foot to step with, tell me to kiss your ass, because I don't know what the fuck you're doing, he says, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. And it's a great guy to work for. And very seldom does he get on the headsets, but in Minnesota, we're playing Minnesota and kicking our ass. We got to be 27-21. And he gets on the headsets and he goes, you know, we're running all this zone stuff. Now Randall's, they're gashing us, they're slanting the guy across the face. We can't slow him down. And he says, why can't we block him? And I said, you know, I mean, it's only a head coach in the league you can do this to, you know, because I'm just a mushroom. And I said, because they're better than us. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. They're better than us. So then we got to get into schemes. Because if you're going here and you're zoning, and their guys are just racing up the yard, you got to tell your guys something. So you have to have some things, and the number one thing Tom Moore, our coordinator, likes, he likes to trap people. And we run the inside trap. And the inside trap was okay for us. It's not as good as the outside trap, which we'll get to, for us this year because of the way people play us. But the power play that Jimmy was just talking about, and again, if your tight end is not a stud, you got to give him a chance. So what we would do is we would either yo-yo him or we line him up across and we fly him in motion and give him a run and start. And the power play that Jimmy, we call it guard. The guard follows the wing. He's the he's the guard after the wing. He's the second guy through. The same thing that Jimmy was talking about, and a lot of this is the same play, but we're talking about, okay, now you can't go ahead and just zone block and man block it, and their guys are better than yours. You got to give you guys a chance. So we start off, it looks like 25 belly, Barry cuts it back, and it's really the counter OT with one guy pulling. This guy on the backside can do one of two things. He can pass set, and then he can work up if they like to bring that linebacker in and cheat. So that was one thing that we did. And it was really kind of a lead draw without a fullback for us. It was like a lead draw without a fullback for us. And like I said, it's not one of these things you go in a game and say, this is our number one play. Our number one play was slant. Our number one play was belly. And this is something that if they're giving us a hard day, we have an answer to help our guys, especially the tight end, because that guy out there is a pretty good football player, and our guy was a rookie. He's 267 pounds. Now, the one thing that Bob had mentioned too, left tackles and left guards are left-handed stance. This offseason, our tight ends, when they get on the left side, are going to be in a left-handed stance, particularly to help us in the run game. We had Rodney Holman, which Jimmy had here. He's from Cincinnati, you know, originally. He's old as dirt. And he retired this year, and you know, we didn't want to change him. But now we got two rookies. We get Metzelaars, you know, we're going to try to put him in a left-handed stance. The old guys, it's hard to teach those new tricks, but the young guys have been doing it all spring in a voluntary kind of mini camp, and they've got it, and they're basically blocking like the tackle is blocking. All right. The other thing that we did with the slant is if we got in a situation where we had these people coming down, and in pre-snap they were bossing those guys. Well, against Chicago, if we moved one, 5 guys tried to move. They tried to get to an over. They had guys running over here. And then finally they stopped doing that, and then we said, okay, if they want to run this safety down and play him like a will linebacker, then let's go ahead. Tackle and tight end, you're going to come off, and that guy ain't used to being at the point of attack. So when we ran the slant with motion, all the G scheme was off. So we called it 37 slant, fly motion, 37 slant. Everybody knew now if they're going to bring the safety down, let them play at the point of attack. Let them play at the point of attack. Now, if they moved the linebacker, if they didn't move him fast enough, we had an angle there. If they moved the linebacker, then Barry, you can just do your thing. You start it downhill, you bounce it, or you can cut it back off of that. But that worked for us. And again, if you get a team that likes to run the 46 bear defense, the Buddy Ryan thing, all that crap, if you start moving your line, your tight end, and they got a guy on the line, a guy here, all of a sudden he gets off the ball, that guy comes off the ball. So, and Washington probably did the best in all the years that Buddy was in Philadelphia. As far as pass coverage is in front, they had guys turning around each other, giving each other signals, and the ball was snapped, and Jimmy used to have those OT plays, and everybody's just talking to each other. So if you get teams that like to do that, play overs. Always play the over to the tight end side, or the under to the tight end side. You move him a couple of times, they stop doing that shit. All right, the other thing that worked pretty well for us was a wag play, which was a weak side play. Because a lot of our stuff was tight end. We'd have our tight end off the ball. Okay? And then what we said was this. Most of the three techniques, like Paul Alexander said this morning, those guys are hard to reach. Well, if they're hard to reach, they're easy to cut off for your backside tackle. So you pull your guard, you pass set, and if you got a guy like our defensive lineman, okay, the only thing in the world that's important is sacks. Who gives a shit what the score is? We had 12 sacks. We had a hell of a day. You know? But our deal is if you pass set that end and work them up the field, that opens up the hole. So we pull our guard, and now the guard, you're pulling for the first linebacker. That happened to be the safety. We ace to the mic. Okay, if the mic runs through, he's yours. If not, you're pushing all the way to the backside linebacker, and the tight end, you're looking to go up inside, and you're looking for a first thing inside out. And we would run the weak side OT play, basically, with the guard. So we'd call that wag. That was the wing after the guard. Okay? How are we doing on time? Okay? The only other play that was a big play for us, okay, and you know, it was Barry's play, and I talked a little bit about last year in Tampa, and it's really, people tried to play the draw play against Barry, and I don't care who these guys are, and I don't care where you line them up. If you get in a situation, Barry could be offset in a brown, or it could be right here, it doesn't matter. Okay, what we wanted to do was run the weak side, what we call the brush play. Weak side draw. And basically, he short sets and jumps the end. Get your head up the field, jump him, and make him feel like he's going to beat you. The only reason I do that is I'm afraid of the TE stunt. I don't want this guy to come back here, this guy doesn't rush, and he falls into the play. So go up and jump the guy. The guard, you're going to go ahead and jump his outside number, and if he comes inside, take a buck step. You bailed on him, and then take and run him inside. Your front side, your center is going to work front side to the front side linebacker. The backside guard, backside tackle, and tight end, your responsibility is for the backside triangle, and you would zone anything off. Now Barry would, if he was in an offset, if he's in brown, he shuffles over, the quarterback comes back, and he's reading the guard's block. If he's here behind the center, he'd take 2 steps over, like scat protection, and he'd run the same path. He's reading, and the big thing about Barry is he starts right at the guy, downhill, and then he cuts it wherever he wants after that. That's why these guys on the backside better be ready to have him come back here, because there's no such thing as backside with Barry. If we wanted to run it to the strong side, the only other change-up we would have, if the tight end can release inside, okay, and it doesn't matter what the front is. If he can release inside, we'd like to have him release like it's passed, work that end up the field. Again, the same technique for the guard. Jump is outside, take almost like an inside step, let that guy beat you inside, and take him down. On the backside, you show pass, and like Paul had that left guard in or whatever, you're working pass. You're both stepping, you're posting up, you're looking at the linebacker, and you don't go to the linebacker until you see the linebacker squat and come back up. So you're both stepping and feeling. So my center's going to step to the 3 technique, and he's going to post his left foot for the nose. My left guard, he's posting here, and both of those guys are just passing. They see the linebacker drop and then squat. Now they start power stepping up the field. That's basically what we run as far as our one-back stuff. And it's not a lot, but you don't want to screw up the best football player we got. And he knows if we're running OT and you're constricting him to one spot, that's a hard play for him to run. The other play, because of all our no-back protection and our slide protection, we have our, what we call a tan formation. And then the reason I keep on drawing the over is because this is what people do to us. All right? They run that front, and we run a lot of free release. Either Barry releases out right now, he motions out of the backfield, or we slide protect from that. So the best thing they do is they want to come over here and play the strong side brush. So they boss that linebacker over, and they might bring him down weak if they think they're going to be a run. But most of the time they don't bring him weak if he's in a tan. So what we do is we run a weak side trap. And a weak side trap with over ball handling. Quarterback comes straight back like pass. He hands it behind. It's over ball. All right. This tackle cuts him off because he can do it. It's not an under ball. This guard and this center double team to the backside linebacker. This tackle pass flashes and he goes to the middle linebacker. And we trap the 5 technique. Now, most defensive line coaches, when they read trap, they take it on wrong shoulder. Because Barry's coming over the top, this thing very seldom stays in here. It becomes a weak side sweep because that end squeezes down. What happens if they bring the safety down? Then the blocking scheme goes, I go to the first stack linebacker. Well, that's the safety. I got the number 2 linebacker. This guy comes up, the ace goes to the middle guy, and we don't block the Sam. And that's about it as far as our run game. And we do it from day one.
They do that on the run?
On the run, then we just block it on the run. We block, we fall into it. But usually, Bob, if he's in this spot here, they're bringing him down. If he's over here in this position, unless there's a big tendency where you run this a lot, you don't get him coming down weak. So it's a game plan kind of a thing. We said, if anything, ace to the middle guy, and we'll go ahead and let the tackle go to the middle guy. Okay? Now, talk you through here on this. How much time I got, Bob?
8 minutes.
Oh, okay. Let me try to talk you through this real fast on this film. You want to hit those legs a little darker there? All right. Here you go. Okay, now same thing. We're going to be in a left-handed stance this year, so he can take that bucket step. And in the second step, okay, this is the outside stretch play. His second step wants to go to his crotch. Now, on this deal here, there's a down block where we felt like he was going to come over the top, Jimmy, so we went near shoulder. Okay? And then now we want him to hook himself. Once he hooked himself, we don't think that this guard's going to have a great block, but if he loses sight of Barry, that's all we want. Now, we say, Barry, you run right at this guy, and you set it up yourself. Okay? 37 slant. Now, what we're telling these guys is to do a better job blocking. Now, this is a first-round draft choice. He don't know how to block yet. That's to a trip formation. All right? Next play here. Okay, we got an under defense, nose guard. Now, it turns into a G scheme. Now, what we want this tight end to do is do a better job on the gap step. Don't get this off arm involved. Now, if they're going to go ahead and jump underneath, Barry, you take care of this guy. You come here, we go for the kick, he jumps underneath. Now, stay on this guy. Just keep running. There's the G scheme on the slant. Now, one thing you'll notice about him, very seldom does he get hit when he carries the ball. Most of the shots that he takes is when we pass block. So we don't ask him to pass block much. All right, here's a better job here. Now he's still getting his off arm involved, but we're not concerned about run through unless this guy gets tight. Now Lutz is coming for a kick out. Now, this is a third and this is 2nd and 1. We told him to get the first down, but he could still stay with this. But our rule is don't tell Barry where to run. So that's a good job, Barry. All right, you got a first down. Okay, now you got the Tim look. We had trouble reaching him. The guard keeps coming around. Now he's taking, with this alignment, he's taking too wide of a step. And his approach should be right through the crotch. If he has no help from his tackle, his inside shoot should go more to his crotch, not cross over. God bless Barry. There you go. Okay? Now, same thing. This is the blast play. Now, this is decent. This is decent. Now, the guard wants to go a little bit more near shoulder by Lomas. The guard wants to go for more of a hook. These guys are always getting his way. Okay? Now, you got the G, the Sam's walk. Well, it's still a guard bubble. Let's kick him even wider. There it is. So what we're saying is this. Bob had that Tampa play where everybody's reaching and running. My guys had trouble doing that, especially our tight ends. And Bob had this tight end, so he knows what I'm talking about. So the G scheme was still a slant, but it was just a different way to do it. Here it is again. Now, taking a bad step. Hook him. Go for the hook. Watch the receiver. This is Herman Moore. He got about 130 passes this year. Watch him. They know what. One of the reasons they get open is because of him in the backfield. So they bust their ass downfield. All right, now you get a situation where you think you're going to get this guy squeezing down. We go to a triple scheme. We just triple slip this. And now watch the crack by Herman. Boom. Now let the corner tackle you. Those guys usually aren't very good. You know what I'm saying? Want to see it in slow motion? There it is. See? Very seldom does he get tackled, even when he's hit out of bounds. That's that vision thing. Here it is again. Get him on a quick count. Now he's taking a shitty step. He's pivoting. This is a pretty good step by my guard. Bucket, get your foot through the crotch. Now if he goes inside, he'll never make the play. Okay, here's another deal. They're going to go ahead and they're going to blitz you. Well, if he goes inside, piss on him. Now this is bad steps. This is terrible steps. Okay, now the G scheme is off once you have a tight end motion. So if they don't move, you got angles. Now you got angles. So it's all by recognition there. I got to know when there's fly motion. I'm going to move one, they're going to move a lot of people. Sometimes they don't move. They don't move, you got these two guys are working for him. You got a pretty good angle. There it is. Now they started, and later in the game, they started running everybody across. And we ran the trap backside. I just want to get to that wham play. Now they're going to move everybody. Okay, now they're all moving because we're moving. Now this is a shitty job by my tackle. But if you stay outside with your tight end, the tackle winds up leg whipping him, which is okay. There it is. That's get on him one-on-one. Get him in the open. That's Barry's guy. That's what he gets paid $4 million for. That's his guy. Okay, let me just get to this, the two-back wham. Okay, again, outside. Now they're going to try to bring a safety down, play him like a Sam linebacker. Well, that ain't even Barry. Watch your feet. Second step to the crutch. Now I just want to get to... Okay, now here's that wham play we're talking about. These two guys are working to these two. We're going to wham Jerkovic. Boom. Okay, now, hook him if you go for the kick. If he blocks himself, just keep coming. What this does is it freezes this linebacker. And what Barry did during the week was Spielman likes to run over the top because he guesses. Well, what happened during the week in practice, Barry just ran it like a wham. So the vision thing we're talking about is he's watching this guy. He already knows what's happening here. He's looking at him. He's inside, he's staying outside. If he ran on top, he cuts it underneath. But if you're two-back offense, you want to run the same play. Now watch, he's going to block himself. He sees this shit coming, he's going to go on all four. He ain't going to get whammed. Now if he overran it, Barry would stay inside. But watch my guard. I got no kick out, so I'm going to keep wrapping for the linebacker. So if you like to run the strong eye and you like to run your lead draw, this might not be a bad play to run it off of. And I told these guys, especially if it's Reggie, go ahead and cut him. Cut him. Okay?
Okay, guys. We'll be back here at 4:30.
I've made some drills over the years, and some of these are from when I was with the Saints, and all the time guys say, hey, can you send me a copy? And there was no problem with me, and then our video guys started to get a little bit, you know, it's too much work for them to do. So what we did was we sent the tape, and that's why Bobby's selling them. I think he stole a case of tapes, and he's making a lot of money on you guys. But, all right, here's what we're talking about. And you've heard all these guys talk about whole foot on the ground. And this is a picture of our Silver Dome, and this is a good example of a video guy with too much time on his hand. All right. Now here's what we're doing. Okay, now this is a thing, I use a lot of medicine balls in a lot of my drills. And we start with air. And I want to take a set with my whole foot on the ground. And what I told the film guys, I just want to look at the guy's feet. So now, when that guy takes a jam, and that guy stutters, and he mistimes his jam, usually, if the whole foot's supposed to be on the ground, what happens is this. Oh shit, he's off balance. And if you see guys getting missing blocks and missing your jams, it's usually because of two things. They got a poor jam with their hands, or they took poor footwork to get to their sets. I'd like to have him have his whole foot on the ground without his heel up. He's off balance. So I tell my guys, you got to play like you're in a weight room. If you're going to squat, you're going to deadlift, you're going to do it with, this is all your weight. This is where all your weight is, right here. I'm thinking about your balance right in here. So if I'm going to punch a guy, okay, and I'm going to be faced, okay, I got a bar on my shoulder, that's right here. I even have my guys close their eyes, take a 3-set on me, boom, all right? Then I walk around the guy, and if I think he has too much weight forward, I'll push him. I want to make sure that that guy feels like this is where all his weight is. And like Paul had said and Bob has said, I always start on the line. I want to see them take a foot, keep their foot on the ground, but get the whole foot on the ground. I'm talking about 90 degrees in the knees. All right, so what I did with the medicine ball was, I want him to punch the ball. I want the guy to try to do something different and try to hit him in the face with the ball. Get your hands up. Paul was talking about kicking a guy in the face. I never thought of that. It's pretty good. Right here, boom. This is where his power is. This is where he strikes. Okay, and we're just talking about the jam. Okay, we'll go into the zone step now. Okay, this is another thing I do in the off season. All right, we're talking about the slide step, not the bucket step. Now we talked about getting the inside shoe to his inside shoe. I'm not telling him where to hit with his head. I'm telling him where this shoe has to go. And what I'm saying to this guy is this: roll off your instep like you're rollerblading. Okay? Don't be on your toe. If you're on your toe, your second step's going to cross you over. Be on your